I stayed home, well, I guess with
Oh.
the girls, but, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I will not have lunch today.
Good, I don't have
Oh.
anything planned.
I'll see how long it goes.
Vegetable dinner, I have vegetable lasagna from the
Yeah,
garden
and
for
it's
dinner.
a perfect day because on Sundays I start working on the sermon for next week, so it'd be a perfect time to go into the fast.
I'll try it.
And I'll report back next week as how it went.
So
Plus
we'll
I'll be-
fast from the time we just had breakfast to
Yep.
dinner.
Till dinner.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be our initial foray into fasting.
Okay.
And I won't eat any tomatoes that I picked today. They'll go right into the bag. I won't eat anything till dinner. So I'll report back to you. Good. It's good.
Okay.
Because I think
It's a work day, but we're home working in the afternoon, so it's a good time to do it. I think if we were out in public, it's a little harder. Let's just get something cold and wet to drink, or here they got chips. Let's get some chips at the gas station where we get our gas.
Yeah.
That it's harder. To me, it's easier at home, and we have a lot to do, so we're
Right.
very busy. That takes
Yep.
our mind. I think if we were sitting idle,
always.
then that would,
Always.
I have a lot of knitting to get done to get this thing I want done, and it's like I can't. I have to keep moving today. So
Okay, so we'll report back next week.
yeah, or from my funeral. You can either way. No, I'm just
You're
kidding.
not gonna die. You're not gonna die.
My memorial service.
Here you go. John Wesley, he fasted 2 days a week. And then he began to fast from Thursday tea until Friday tea. He was
Tea,
English.
3, 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah. And he also fasted before receiving Holy Communion to focus his attention on God. And he asked other Methodists to follow this example. Fasting is one of the spiritual disciplines that he identified, the means of grace. Remember those things that are in our chart that take us from the human level to our salvation, our order of salvation. In between here are the means of grace, and fasting is one of those means of grace. So fasting is really a twofold act of abstaining from food for a designated period of time and increasing time in prayer. And as we entered into this class, we said how leaning into God through prayer will help us through that fast, because we're asking His assistance to get us through. And the ancient understanding of fasting includes prayer as a guide against gluttony and impure words. They got hangry, so they're using impure words maybe, thoughts and deeds. The Eastern Orthodox Church tradition also calls for an increase in almsgiving. So to take the focus off themselves and their hunger, they would give things away. They would increase their almsgiving. They would do acts of compassion and mercy for others. So instead of focusing on their hunger, they would focus on how can I help out this other person? What can I do for this person to help them? Another great way to take the focus off yourself and think about other people.
Now, you shouldn't let anyone know you're fasting, though, because then
True.
that's like a
Absolutely.
Pharisee on the corner
Absolutely.
saying, "Hi, I'm fasting. Don't talk to me," or
Yeah.
whatever.
Because in Bible 101 last week in Matthew,
Right.
we heard that the Pharisee way of fasting was to put on sackcloth, put ashes on your head, don't shower, and don't wash. It was obvious you were fasting because you were walking around looking like a mope, and you're all dirty, you're stinky, and you had ashes on your head. Jesus said, no. Wash up. Put perfume on. Comb your hair, and walk around with a smile, so that no one knows you're fasting except God. Because this is an act of worship. We're not doing it for anybody else. We're not doing it for, oh, Jim, you look so hungry. You look so starving. Oh, you're such a good Christian. We're not doing it for that.
Right.
Not ever. We should go into it joyfully and as a sacrifice and saying, Jesus, you gave up so much for me, even your life, that I'm going to do this little thing for you. Simple. So, great point, Christy. And it says, think of engaging, to your point still, think of engaging in fasting as a spiritual practice, an individual spiritual practice. And if you're in good health, commit to fasting 1 day a week for a month. They've actually proven that fasting it's called intermittent fasting, is actually good for you. Because it teaches your body how to conserve, how to use energy, and also how to do without food. And it's even a good training thing when you're training in marathon or running. Use intermittent fasting, or even work out before you eat, because it teaches your body how to get through with less calories. And to your point earlier, if you have health considerations that keep you from abstaining from food for a day, offer an alternative fast to God. Consider fasting from social networks like Twitter or Facebook for 1 day a week, or, this is a good one, abstain from apathy and engage in ministry for others. So instead of focusing on lack, help people out. Plan to fast from talking and go without speaking for a day. That can be tough for some people. Use this time for prayer and devotion. When you go on a walk to Emmaus, usually the first evening is silent. At least it was for us. After the meal, you were silent, actually up until lunch the next day. So you couldn't say a word. You just woke up. In Wisconsin, they took us from the church to the Y to shower, and we came back. We went to the first worship service, and then only at lunch could you start talking. And also at Emmaus, you abstain from all electronics, and they cover up the clocks even, so you don't know what time it is. So that was interesting, very, very spiritual. And always remember that fasting and prayer go together. They have to be in sync. As soon as you start your fast, offer up a prayer to God to help you get through it, and continue to pray throughout the whole time. In our notes, it makes the obvious statement: fasting is not an easy practice and demands prayer. Amen to that. And with other spiritual practices, especially contemplative prayer, there's going to be a lot of distractions coming in. As you're fasting, you're going to think about everything to eat or drink or whatever. You're going to focus on how hungry you are, how mad you are. Shut it out. As soon as those thoughts come, offer up a prayer. And that'll put the brakes on. And just say to yourself, yes, I do need to whatever, and I'll do it as soon as I'm finished with this fast. Yes, I do need to eat, but I'll do it as soon as I'm done with this fast.
Yes, I do need that piece of brownie,
Exactly.
but I'll do it after that.
Right. Notice the distraction, address the distraction, chase the distraction away, and get back. This lesson was written by Reverend Brad Gray. He's associate pastor of Andrews Parish in Charleston, South Carolina. So we thank him for this lesson, and we'll see what kind of fast we get today. Christy and I, we're going to start a fast from this point.
Well, and you know what I think we'll end our fast with? You know how we always on Sunday night would just sit, what's on TV, and eat our dinner while watching TV. Tonight we'll have a quiet dinner at the table to finish our fast.
Sounds
that
good.
way it's a part of the end.
And we'll learn some new songs.
Before or after the fast?
After dinner.
Oh,
So we can focus.
we'll see.
All right. So God bless your fast today. God bless your day. It's still pretty hot out, so if you have issues with the heat, stay in an air-conditioned
Church is cold.
place. I was just going to say that. Church is really cold, so we start worship in an hour, so you have a lot of time. Have your breakfast. Break fast. Come to worship. Lift your hearts and heads and minds up to God, and then decide, how am I going to fast today? Am I not going to watch baseball?
It's no problem.
Well, but actually, remember, it's only the third day of baseball, so that'd be
Yeah,
giving
but
up
there's no
something for some
crowd
people.
there. It's weird. Okay, I just...
Yeah, but still. So you give up baseball, you give up Facebook, you give up whatever, and that'll be your fast. Or you give up your big grand Sunday meal. But whatever it is, do it for God, not for the accolades. And we really don't want to hear about your fast.
Right.
Next week, all I'm going to say is, I did or I didn't. No details. Because the details don't matter. It just matters that you made an offering to God. And remember, there's no failure.
Right, I was going to say, if you fail.
If you don't make it through your fast, look at what happened. Did you not drink enough water? Did you not pray enough? Turn it into a lesson, and then there won't be any failure. And let's try to do that in everything. In our work, in our dealings with children, in our dealings with adults, in our dealings with our parents. Let's look at what we weren't able to accomplish and say, okay, here's why it didn't work out. Learn from it and change. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.